In the Horn of Africa, Somalia is the continent's most easterly country. It has the longest coastline in mainland Africa, stretching more than 3,000 kilometers along the Indian Ocean, the Gulf of Aden, and the Red Sea. Its location turned Somalia into a strategically important trading center in the ancient world.
But if you go to Mogadishu, if you go to Hargeisa, if you go to Garawa, if you go to Kismaya, and you go to schools that ordinary people have put together, those young and women in those schools are more eager to learn than my students here at the University of Minnesota.
Around 12 million Somalis, most of them herders, farmers, and fishermen, live in the country's 600,000 square kilometers. Despite being a member of the Arab League, Somalia's main language is Somali. The only Arabic speakers are people who've studied the language or lived in Arab countries. In 1884, the United States and 13 European countries met in Berlin. Their aim, to divide the African continent between them. They divided what we know as Somalia into 3 provinces, each ruled by a different European country. British Somalia, Italian Somalia, and French Somalia. The mainly Somali region of Ogaden was taken by the Ethiopian Empire and the NFD by Kenya.
The incredible thing about Somalia is that if you go way back in its history, it's always been either fought over or had foreign powers intervening in some way.
Both British and Italian Somalia gained independence in 1960. French Somalia voted to remain under French rule, despite accusations of ballot rigging, but later voted firmly for independence in 1977 and became Djibouti. The former British and Italian territories immediately united, forming Greater Somalia on the 1st of January 1960. Somalis elected Adam Abdullah Othman as the first president of the united country. He ruled for 7 years and was succeeded after a free and peaceful election by Abdel Rashid Ali Sharmarka. This was when Somalia's peace and stability earned it the nickname the Switzerland of Africa. It was led by General Siad Barre, who would be the dominant figure in Somalia for the next 2 decades. Somalia's experiment in democracy was over. The rifle, not the ballot box, would now govern the country. Barre dissolved parliament, suspended the constitution, banned political parties, arrested politicians, and limited press freedom.
We had only accepted
Barre's government was supported by the 2 superpowers of the day, the United States and the Soviet Union. It built the country's infrastructure and radically improved literacy.
I usually use the word collapsed state rather than a failed state, in large measure because it's the government that has collapsed rather than the state of affairs for the whole country. This is a country at one point that was the best democratic country in Africa. Now it has become, in a sense, the worst because there has been no government in place for 25 years. And so the absence of government means there are no public schools, there are no public security services, there are no public health facilities, there are no public sort of environmental protection, there are no infrastructure that's being built by the state. So the absence of the state means that the government has collapsed, but society is trying to make a life in the midst of that madness.
Because of the nature of the Somali people, and because the fact that they have been a nation prior to the formation of the state, the modern state system has collapsed, but the nation itself did not collapse.
maybe Somalia has had a failed political system, failed government, but it's not a failed society. So many things work in Somalia better than they do in lots of other countries. They have one of the most cheap and efficient telecommunication systems in the world. Their remittance system is incredible. You can pay mobile payments in Somalia that you can't do here. You can go to get your petrol, you just pay by your phone. It's very sophisticated and successful in lots of ways. So I think it's wrong to call it a failed state.
dhacay kadib waxaa dhacday markii dadka kalluumaysatada ay baddi ay ku nabadgeli waayeen oo maraakiib shisheeye oo kalluumaysi sharci darra baddeena ku haya ay qalabkii kalluumaysiga ay baabi'iyeen oo doonyihii ay jijibiyeen oo dadkii ay biyo kuleel ay ku shubeen waxay qasab ku noqotay dadka kalluumaysatada inay iska difaacaan maraakiibtaas sharci darrada ku kalluumaysanaysa markeedii ugu horeysay maraakiibta kalluumaysiga la qabtay dad oo gadooday oo shabaagtoodii la baabi'iyey oo maslaxadoodii badda la burburiyey ayaa waxay goosteen inay ka dagaalamaan oo ay ka dhiidhiyaan markaasna waxaa ka dhalatay burcad badeednimadii ka dhalatay meesha ugu horeysa burcad badeednimo ay ka dhalatay waxay ahaaday dhinaca badda cas.
This was once a bustling location. It's fantastic. It all started for me when I went to a region in Somaliland called Sanag. And a little village, a little fishing village on the coast where my family came from. The first time I went there, it was wonderful, obviously. I only saw what people wanted me to see. But as I started to go there on a regular basis, annually, I noticed that the fishermen and their activity was getting less and less and less and less. And I noticed at the same time that in the far horizon, there would be these big foreign boats, motherships, with their little tenders crawling around the sea, scooping up all the fish. A group of youngsters in a little village in Puntland, and they, fed up with the activities of these illegal fishing companies, boarded a ship one day to protest, and they were told, what do you need to go away? They were given money. That was how it began. And of course it then escalated into a proper long-term business with many people benefiting from.
ay ku faafto wadankii iyo adduun weynaha ay ku faafto dhibaatada ka dhalatay kalluumaysiga sharci darrada markeedii hore adduunkaas soo gurmaday maraakiib oo dagaala la keenay oo lagula difaacid ay difaacayeen burcadnimo difaacina inay maraakiibtooda ay difaacanayaan hadda ay ku difaacanayaan baddeena inay ka xaalufiyaan kalluunka ila aan waa socotaa arrintaas waa ku jiraan maraakiibta sharci darrada badda waa ku jiraan.
International community talks about Somali pirates. There are 4 kinds of pirates if you study this. And the most costly pirates are not the Somalis who hijack the ships, are the Italians, the Spaniards, the Belgians, the sort of Chinese, the Indians, the Tanzanians, the Egyptians, and everybody else who is looting the Somali waters. And guess how much they take away every year in free fish? $500 million every year.